Have you ever felt like you're living someone else's life? Are you burdened by unnecessary weight, the expectations of others, the fear of judgment, or meaningless relationships? A harsh truth we often avoid is that we self-impose limitations that hinder our happiness and growth. But what if you learned to let go? What if you dared to step out of the shadow of expectation and rediscover yourself? This video presents 7 powerful lessons to help you prioritize yourself, release what no longer serves you, and find true freedom. These are not empty platitudes, but principles validated by Stoic philosophy, successful mindsets, and real-world experiences. Watch until the end. Each lesson will bring you closer to becoming your best self. 1. Release the need for external validation. The human yearning for love is a fundamental and deeply ingrained aspect of our existence. This inherent need stems from a confluence of factors, extending beyond simple emotional desire to encompass primal survival instincts and the complexities of modern social structures. From our earliest ancestors, acceptance within the tribe was paramount for survival. Rejection equated to ostracism, a life-threatening predicament that instilled a profound dependence on social connection for physical and emotional well-being. This innate drive for belonging persists in contemporary society. Albeit manifested in subtly different ways, the pervasive influence of social media has arguably intensified this inherent need, creating a system where self-worth is often measured by metrics of online validation, likes, comments, and shares. While positive feedback can elicit feelings of euphoria, negative interactions can trigger significant emotional distress, highlighting the precarious nature of self-esteem in a digitally mediated world. Furthermore, societal conditioning plays a crucial role in shaping our understanding of love and its attainment. From childhood, we are often implicitly taught that compliance and the pursuit of external approval are pathways to love and acceptance. This conditioning can foster a dependence on external validation, creating a cycle where self-worth becomes inextricably linked to the opinions and affections of others. Underlying this yearning is a profound fear of isolation and loneliness. The belief that a lack of affection renders one unworthy or insignificant is a pervasive and often debilitating anxiety. This fear fuels the relentless pursuit of love and connection, driving individuals to seek validation and acceptance from various sources, sometimes at the expense of personal well-being. Understanding the multifaceted origins of this fundamental human need is crucial to fostering healthier relationships and cultivating a more robust sense of self-worth independent of external validation. The detrimental consequences of excessive reliance on external validation for self-worth are profound and far-reaching. The yearning for acceptance, while a natural human desire, can morph into a crippling burden, manifesting in several debilitating ways. Firstly, the relentless pursuit of external approval often leads to a profound loss of self. Individuals may suppress their authentic selves, sacrificing personal passions and aspirations to conform to the expectations of others. For instance, a talented artist might abandon their creative pursuits to secure a stable, albeit unfulfilling, office job solely to appease familial pressures. This self-negation ultimately results in a diminished sense of identity and purpose. Secondly, an overdependence on external validation fosters crippling anxiety and a pervasive lack of self-confidence. When self-worth is contingent upon the opinions of others, individuals become acutely vulnerable to criticism and judgment. A single negative remark can trigger significant emotional distress, as their sense of well-being is precariously balanced on the shifting sands of external approval. This precarious emotional state undermines personal resilience and hinders the development of a strong, independent sense of self. Furthermore, excessive concern with public perception can lead to a debilitating conformity to prevailing trends and opinions, stifling independent thought and action. Individuals may abandon innovative ideas or personal convictions for fear of ridicule or social ostracism. A promising entrepreneur, for example, might abandon a groundbreaking business venture due to apprehension about negative judgment, thereby forfeiting potential success and personal fulfillment. This intellectual and creative stagnation represents a significant personal cost. Finally, and perhaps most critically, the pursuit of externally validated happiness creates a vicious cycle of dependence and dissatisfaction. When happiness is solely derived from external recognition, a perpetual sense of inadequacy prevails. The individual engages in a relentless quest for approval, constantly modifying their behavior to please others, yet remaining perpetually unfulfilled. This cycle perpetuates a state of emotional instability and prevents the cultivation of genuine, intrinsic self-worth. The pursuit of external validation, therefore, becomes a self-defeating endeavor, hindering personal growth and genuine happiness. The path to letting go of the need for external validation. Releasing the need for external validation doesn't equate to isolation or apathy, rather, it signifies cultivating intrinsic self-worth, independent of societal approval, shifting the paradigm. Recognize the impossibility of universal approval. As Marcus Aurelius stated, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The pursuit of unanimous acceptance is futile. Even historical figures like Socrates and Galileo faced widespread condemnation. Understanding that external validation doesn't define your inherent worth is profoundly liberating. Defining personal values. Introspection is paramount. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? A clear understanding of your core values eliminates the need for self-alteration to appease others. For example, if creativity is a central value, pursue artistic endeavors regardless of societal acclaim. The unwavering commitment to one's values transcends the need for external validation. Cultivating self-love and acceptance. Emulate figures like Franz Kafka, who, without seeking widespread recognition, relentlessly pursued his creative endeavors. Foster self-esteem by objectively assessing strengths and weaknesses, accepting imperfection as the human condition, and dedicating time to self-care. Independent of external affirmation. This self-acceptance forms the bedrock of emotional independence. Developing emotional independence. Instead of seeking external validation, cultivate internal sources of joy. Practical strategies include journaling to process emotions and thoughts, practicing mindfulness or meditation to enhance presence, and learning to appreciate solitude without succumbing to anxiety. This fosters resilience and self-reliance. Embracing authentic self-expression. Unafraid of judgment. Pursue your aspirations with unwavering conviction. Ask yourself, if I didn't need anyone's love, what would I do? This question reveals your true path. Unburdened by the constraints of external validation. This authentic self-expression is the ultimate liberation. 2. Abandon the pursuit of omniscience. The inherent human desire for knowledge is a fundamental aspect of our nature, stemming from a complex interplay of evolutionary, psychological, and socio-cultural factors. Primarily, this drive is rooted in the imperative for survival. In our ancestral past, understanding the natural world, predicting weather patterns, mastering hunting techniques, recognizing potential threats, was paramount for continued existence. This innate survival instinct has been deeply ingrained within our genetic makeup, shaping our predisposition towards knowledge acquisition. Furthermore, the pursuit of knowledge is inextricably linked to our psychological need for control. The belief that increased knowledge equates to greater control over one's life is a powerful motivator. We strive to understand the world around us, believing that this understanding will allow us to mitigate risks, avoid negative outcomes, and ultimately, achieve greater success. This desire for predictability and mastery is a core component of human psychology. The modern information age, characterized by an unprecedented deluge of data and readily accessible information through the internet and various technological advancements, significantly amplifies this inherent drive. The constant bombardment of news, social media updates, and scientific discoveries creates a compelling sense of urgency to remain informed, fostering a perpetual cycle of information consumption. This constant influx of information, while offering numerous benefits, also contributes to the pervasive fear of missing out, FOMO, further fueling the desire to acquire knowledge beyond survival and control. The pursuit of knowledge is often deeply intertwined with the construction and maintenance of personal identity. For many individuals, knowledge represents a significant component of their self-worth and social standing. The acquisition of knowledge becomes a means of self-improvement, contributing to a sense of competence and belonging. The fear of intellectual inadequacy. of being perceived as uninformed or ignorant, can be a powerful motivator in the relentless pursuit of knowledge. In conclusion, the human desire for knowledge is a multifaceted phenomenon, driven by a complex interplay of evolutionary pressures, psychological needs, and socio-cultural influences. The relentless pursuit of omniscience carries significant detrimental consequences. Firstly, cognitive overload is inevitable. The continuous influx of information overwhelms the brain, leading to mental exhaustion and burnout. The inherent paradox of striving for complete understanding: the more one learns, the more one realizes the vastness of the unknown, creates internal conflict and a sense of intellectual inadequacy. Secondly, anxiety and impaired focus are common outcomes. The constant search for information breeds apprehension, particularly when satisfactory answers remain elusive. Preoccupation with uncontrollable variables diverts attention from genuinely important aspects of life, hindering productivity and overall well-being. Thirdly, a state of persistent intellectual insecurity emerges. Obsessive pursuit of complete knowledge fosters a debilitating anxiety surrounding any perceived gaps in understanding. This creates a vicious cycle. The search for answers reveals further unknowns, fueling anxiety and perpetuating the relentless quest. Finally, the pursuit of comprehensive knowledge compromises the ability to fully engage in the present moment. Excessive preoccupation with future possibilities and hypothetical scenarios prevents individuals from appreciating the richness of current experiences. Meaningful interactions, pleasurable activities, and moments of tranquility are sacrificed at the altar of insatiable intellectual curiosity, resulting in a diminished quality of life. The present, with its inherent uncertainties and complexities, is neglected in favor of an unattainable ideal of complete understanding. The pursuit of omniscience is a fool's errand. Abandoning this desire doesn't equate to intellectual stagnation, rather, it signifies the cultivation of discerning information consumption and the acceptance of unknowable truths. This process involves several key strategies. Firstly, acknowledge the inherent limitations of human knowledge. Stoic philosophy underscores that wisdom resides not in the breadth of knowledge, but in the depth of understanding of what truly matters. As Marcus Aurelius stated, you don't need to have an opinion on everything. There's no rule that says you have to react to everything that happens. Prioritize information by asking, is this truly relevant to my life? If the answer is no, discard it. Secondly, cultivate acceptance, amor fati, love of fate. Epictetus's teachings emphasize that while we cannot control external events, we can control our responses. Embrace the reality that not every question demands an answer, and not every answer holds significance. This requires a conscious effort to relinquish the need for complete understanding. Thirdly, implement an information diet. Just as one cannot consume every dish at a banquet, one cannot absorb all available information. Selectively engage with valuable sources, avoiding distractions like sensationalist news and unproductive online debates. A useful guideline: if the information doesn't contribute to personal growth or problem solving, disregard it. Fourthly, prioritize stillness. In our relentlessly noisy world, silence is a precious commodity. Dedicate daily time to introspection and mindful presence. Stoicism highlights that clarity of thought emerges only from a tranquil mind, enabling sound judgment and decision-making. Finally, trust the natural unfolding of life. Not everything requires explanation. Some experiences are best left to be felt and understood intuitively. Ask yourself, is knowing this truly necessary for a meaningful life? If not, release the need to know and focus on what lies within your control. The pursuit of knowledge should serve life, not the other way around. A discerning approach to information fosters a more fulfilling and less stressful existence. 3. Assume responsibility for your own life. Human beings often evade responsibility for a multitude of complex and interconnected reasons. The avoidance of personal accountability stems from a confluence of psychological predispositions, societal influences, and learned behaviors. Firstly, inherent aversion to suffering plays a significant role. Individuals frequently deflect blame onto external factors, be it other people or circumstantial events, as a short-term coping mechanism to alleviate emotional distress. For instance, Failure in a professional endeavor might be attributed to inadequate management, uncooperative colleagues, or unfavorable market conditions, rather than acknowledging personal shortcomings in preparation or execution. This avoidance of self-critique prevents introspection and hinders personal growth. Secondly, contemporary culture actively fosters a climate of external attribution. Modern society, particularly through the pervasive influence of social media, encourages a narrative of victimhood and complaint. Platforms are saturated with grievances regarding political systems, workplace dynamics, and familial relationships. Yet a critical self-assessment, what proactive steps can I take to improve this situation, is often absent. This societal normalization of blame shifting undermines personal responsibility and reinforces a passive approach to problem solving. Furthermore, the fear of failure acts as a powerful deterrent to embracing personal accountability. Acknowledging complete ownership of one's life necessitates confronting the possibility of setbacks and shortcomings. The admission of mistakes requires courage and self-honesty, qualities that many individuals find challenging to cultivate. This fear of vulnerability can lead to a perpetuation of avoidance behaviors, hindering personal development and achievement. Finally, ingrained habits of blame shifting, often originating in childhood, contribute significantly to this pervasive pattern. Individuals raised in environments where external factors are consistently cited as determinants of success or failure may develop a victim mentality. A lack of parental or pedagogical emphasis on self-reliance and personal responsibility can cultivate a dependency on external validation and a reluctance to assume ownership of one's actions and their consequences. This learned helplessness significantly impacts an individual's capacity for self-determination and proactive engagement with life's challenges. The ramifications of irresponsibility are profound and far-reaching, significantly impacting personal growth and overall well-being. Firstly, a pervasive lack of accountability results in a relinquishment of personal control. By externalizing blame, attributing failures to circumstances, societal structures, or others, individuals abdicate their agency and cede control over their lives. For instance, believing poverty stems solely from systemic injustice prevents proactive steps towards financial improvement, perpetuating a cycle of dependence and limiting potential. This abdication of responsibility fosters a sense of learned helplessness, hindering personal growth and achievement. Secondly, a consistent pattern of avoiding responsibility cultivates a debilitating sense of powerlessness. The belief that one's circumstances are immutable and beyond personal influence leads to feelings of inertia and a lack of motivation. This pervasive sense of helplessness can manifest as depression, anxiety, and a profound sense of disorientation, hindering the pursuit of goals and aspirations. The individual becomes trapped in a cycle of negativity, unable to envision or pursue alternative paths to success. Finally, a persistent refusal to accept responsibility prevents personal maturation and growth. Successful individuals consistently analyze their mistakes, extracting valuable lessons and adapting their strategies accordingly. Conversely, those who habitually blame external factors avoid self-reflection and fail to learn from their experiences. This lack of introspection inhibits personal development, preventing the acquisition of crucial life skills and hindering the attainment of long-term goals. The inability to accept responsibility represents a significant obstacle to personal growth and the achievement of one's full potential. Taking ownership of your life, a practical guide. Abandoning the ingrained habit of blaming external factors is undeniably challenging. Yet cultivating a mindset of personal responsibility is achievable through deliberate practice. This guide outlines actionable strategies to empower you to take control of your life's trajectory. Recognizing your agency, the architect of your reality. Marcus Aurelius's profound observation: if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, underscores a fundamental truth. While you cannot control every event life throws your way, you possess absolute control over your response. This principle forms the cornerstone of personal responsibility. Practical application. When confronted with adversity, instead of lamenting, "Why is this happening to me?" proactively ask, "What steps can I take to improve this situation?" This shift in perspective transforms passive resignation into active problem solving, Transcending the blame game, focusing on internal control. The reality is that while external circumstances remain largely beyond your direct influence, your internal responses are entirely within your control. A common fallacy is attributing failures to external factors. I haven't succeeded because my parents weren't wealthy. Or, I'm unhappy because my partner doesn't understand me. Shifting the paradigm. Instead of assigning blame, concentrate on actionable steps within your power to alter the situation. Practical application. Compile a list of instances where you've assigned blame to others or circumstances. For each item, identify at least one immediate action you can take to address the underlying issue. This proactive approach fosters a sense of agency and empowers you to effect positive change. Reframing challenges as opportunities for growth. Rather than viewing setbacks as insurmountable obstacles, reframe them as invaluable learning experiences. For instance, a business failure shouldn't be attributed solely to market forces. A thorough self-assessment, identifying areas for improvement, is crucial. Practical application. Upon encountering failure, engage in a reflective process. What lessons can I glean from this experience? What alternative approaches could I employ in the future? And who has faced similar challenges? And how did they overcome them? This analytical approach transforms setbacks into catalysts for growth. Embracing the mantle of responsibility, a proactive stance. In the face of adversity, consistently affirm, I am responsible for my life. This self-declaration empowers you to actively shape your destiny. Practical application. Identify a current challenge. Then, articulate 3 concrete steps you can take to proactively address the situation. This exercise reinforces your commitment to personal responsibility and fosters a sense of control. Rejecting the victim mentality. Choosing your response. Epictetus wisely stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The truth is that no life is devoid of challenges. However, successful individuals consistently choose action over complaint. Practical application. Whenever the urge to complain arises, transform that negativity into a concrete action. Instead of declaring, "I hate my job," ask, "What steps can I take to secure more fulfilling employment?" This proactive approach replaces passive resentment with purposeful action. 4. Abandon the need to prevail in every argument. The human desire to prevail in every argument stems from a confluence of deeply ingrained psychological and sociocultural factors. Firstly, the inherent need for self-affirmation is paramount. Individuals possess a fundamental drive to be perceived as intelligent, correct, and knowledgeable, surpassing others in intellectual prowess. When confronted with dissenting viewpoints, a defensive mechanism is triggered, compelling individuals to refute challenges and safeguard their self-image. This is intrinsically linked to ego and self-esteem. The outcome of an argument often becomes a measure of personal worth. Failure to convincingly articulate one's position can lead to feelings of humiliation and diminished self-value, prompting a strong desire to avoid such outcomes. Furthermore, the illusion of control plays a significant role. Many believe that successfully persuading others equates to controlling the situation, a particularly potent motivator in personal and professional contexts where influence and the acceptance of one's ideas are highly valued. The desire to be heard and heeded fuels the competitive drive to win arguments, ensuring one's perspective dominates. Finally, the pervasive influence of social media and its inherent culture of debate significantly exacerbates this tendency. Online platforms provide a public stage for individuals to fiercely defend their positions, often amplified by the pursuit of validation through likes, comments, and public support. This external reinforcement strengthens the desire to emerge victorious, transforming arguments into contests for social dominance and validation. The competitive nature of online discourse, therefore, intensifies the inherent human inclination to win arguments. The detrimental consequences of prioritizing victory in arguments are multifaceted and far-reaching. Firstly, the relentless pursuit of winning fosters a climate of persistent tension and inner turmoil. The constant engagement in unnecessary confrontations depletes energy reserves and cultivates a state of chronic anxiety, significantly impacting mental well-being. This relentless pressure to prevail undermines personal peace and tranquility. Secondly, The prioritization of victory invariably damages interpersonal relationships. An unwavering focus on winning arguments often leads to emotional injury for others. Feelings of disrespect and belittlement are common outcomes, fostering resentment and unnecessary conflict. The resulting strained relationships can be difficult, if not impossible, to repair. Thirdly, an overemphasis on proving oneself right obstructs opportunities for personal growth and learning. The unwavering commitment to self-validation prevents the assimilation of valuable perspectives from others. As Richard Feynman eloquently stated, "I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned." This inherent bias towards self-justification stifles intellectual curiosity and limits the potential for expanding one's understanding. Finally, the persistent pursuit of winning arguments invariably erodes personal credibility and respect. Individuals who consistently engage in contentious debates, driven by a need to prove their correctness, often find themselves isolated and ostracized. Instead of persuading others, their behavior elicits avoidance and discourages meaningful dialogue. This ultimately undermines their influence and diminishes their standing within their social and professional circles. The pursuit of intellectual dominance, therefore, is counterproductive to achieving genuine influence and fostering positive relationships. Cultivating the ability to relinquish the need to win every argument is not about disregarding truth or adopting passivity. It's about strategically selecting worthwhile engagements and maintaining composure in all situations. This involves a conscious and deliberate approach, focusing on the efficacy and purpose of the interaction. Assessing the argument's purpose before engaging. Pause and introspect. Is this argument truly necessary? Is the issue of sufficient importance to warrant engagement? Is there a realistic possibility of influencing the opposing viewpoint? If the discussion offers no potential for personal or mutual growth, disengagement is the prudent course of action. This proactive assessment prevents unproductive expenditure of time and energy. Subjugating the ego. As Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The compulsion to assert oneself should not dictate participation in every debate. Self-reflection is crucial. When the urge to counter arises, ask, "Am I defending truth, or merely my ego?" Prioritizing objective truth over personal validation is essential for productive discourse. Prioritizing active listening. Active listening is a powerful tool fostering understanding and mutual respect. By prioritizing comprehension over immediate rebuttal, opportunities for learning and relationship building are created. Instead of immediate counter-arguments, pose clarifying questions. For example, "Could you elaborate on your perspective?" This approach demonstrates respect and encourages deeper engagement. Embracing the principle of agree to disagree. Not everyone will share your viewpoint, and this is perfectly acceptable. Instead of striving to alter another's beliefs, cultivate respect for differing perspectives. When a debate reaches an impasse, a graceful exit strategy is to state, "I understand your viewpoint, but I hold a different perspective. We can agree to disagree." This acknowledges the validity of opposing viewpoints without prolonging unproductive conflict. Strategic selection of arguments. Not all arguments merit your time and energy. Focus solely on engagements offering genuine value, contributing to personal or collective growth. Before participating, ask, "Will this argument benefit myself and the other party involved?" If the answer is negative, disengagement is the most effective strategy. Harnessing the power of silence. Epictetus's assertion, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," is profoundly relevant. Silence is not a sign of weakness, rather, it signifies self-assurance and self-control. When provoked, consider a measured response, remain silent, offer a composed smile, and disengage. This demonstrates emotional intelligence and avoids escalating conflict. The strategic use of silence can be a powerful tool in de-escalating tense situations. 4. Embrace imperfection. The relentless human pursuit of perfection stems from a confluence of societal pressures, deeply ingrained fears, and pervasive misconceptions regarding self-worth. Firstly, societal structures actively cultivate an expectation of flawlessness. From childhood, we are indoctrinated with the notion that success is inextricably linked to perfection. Educational systems and cultural norms consistently celebrate the best, the most beautiful, and the most successful, fostering a belief that anything less than perfection renders one inherently valueless. This conditioning creates a pervasive sense of inadequacy and fuels the relentless striving for an unattainable ideal. Secondly, the fear of judgment significantly contributes to this pursuit. The potential for criticism, ridicule, or social ostracism acts as a powerful deterrent, inhibiting self-expression and fostering a culture of self-censorship. For instance, an individual might refrain from voicing their opinion in a professional setting for fear of making a mistake or facing derision from colleagues. This fear of negative evaluation reinforces the pressure to conform to perceived standards of perfection, stifling individuality and genuine self-expression. Thirdly, the pervasive nature of social comparison, amplified by ubiquitous social media platforms, exacerbates this phenomenon. Constant exposure to curated online personas fosters a relentless comparison of one's own perceived shortcomings against the seemingly flawless lives of others. This selective presentation of success, devoid of the inevitable failures and struggles inherent in the human experience, creates a distorted perception of reality and fuels feelings of inadequacy. The curated highlight reels of others' lives serve only to amplify the perceived gap between aspiration and reality. Finally, a fundamental misconception regarding self-worth underpins this relentless pursuit. Many individuals erroneously equate their self-esteem with external validation, basing their sense of value on achievements, physical appearance, or external recognition. This precarious foundation for self-worth leaves individuals vulnerable to feelings of inadequacy whenever they fail to meet self-imposed or externally imposed standards of perfection. The inherent instability of such a system necessitates a continuous striving for unattainable ideals, perpetuating a cycle of self-doubt and dissatisfaction. A shift in perspective, focusing on intrinsic value and self-acceptance, is crucial in breaking free from this self-imposed pressure. The pursuit of perfection carries significant detrimental consequences. Firstly, the relentless pressure to achieve flawlessness inevitably leads to chronic stress, anxiety, and burnout. Individuals striving for unattainable standards often overwork themselves, fearing judgment for perceived inadequacy, ultimately sacrificing their physical and mental well-being. This relentless self-criticism can manifest in a vicious cycle of exhaustion and diminished performance. Secondly, perfectionism fosters self-doubt and a crippling fear of failure. The imposition of excessively high standards results in frequent self-criticism and disappointment. Many individuals succumb to procrastination, rationalizing inaction by believing that anything less than perfect is unacceptable. This avoidance behavior prevents personal growth and the attainment of goals. Thirdly, the unwavering focus on perfection robs individuals of the joy and spontaneity inherent in life. The constant striving for an idealized outcome overshadows the appreciation of everyday experiences and achievements. For example, an individual might forego participation in a dance class, fearing their performance will fall short of others, thereby missing out on the inherent pleasure and social benefits of the activity. This relentless pursuit of an elusive ideal prevents the enjoyment of the present moment and the acceptance of imperfection as a natural part of the human experience. Finally, the demand for perfection, both from oneself and others, can severely damage interpersonal relationships. The inherent rigidity and intolerance of imperfection often manifest as harsh criticism and judgment, creating an environment of pressure and tension. This critical stance can alienate friends, family, and colleagues, leading to strained relationships and social isolation. The inability to accept imperfections in others, coupled with a relentless self-criticism, creates a toxic dynamic that undermines healthy connections and fosters feelings of loneliness and inadequacy. Embracing imperfection, a path to self-acceptance. Accepting imperfection does not equate to abandoning striving, rather, it signifies a transition to a more realistic, fulfilling, and liberated existence. Recognizing the universality of imperfection, Marcus Aurelius eloquently stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Imperfection is inherent to the human condition. It is a characteristic shared by all, even the most accomplished individuals. The crucial element is not the eradication of flaws, but the cultivation of adaptability and the ability to learn and grow from them. Practical application. Observe individuals you admire and acknowledge their inherent imperfections and past failures. Recognize that these setbacks did not impede their progress, reframing imperfections as integral to growth. In Japanese art, kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold, serves as a powerful metaphor. The cracks are not concealed but highlighted, becoming integral to the piece's unique beauty. Similarly, your imperfections do not diminish your value, they contribute to your distinctive identity. Practical application. Reflect on a past failure. Ask yourself, what did this failure teach me? Document 3 key lessons derived from this experience. Transcending the pitfalls of social comparison. Seneca wisely observed, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." Each individual embarks on a unique journey. Comparing oneself to others invariably fosters feelings of inadequacy. Practical application. When the urge to compare arises, ask yourself, am I striving to become the best version of myself? Or am I attempting to emulate someone else? Embracing failure as a catalyst for learning. Mistakes are not indicative of failure but rather integral components of the learning process. Thomas Edison's countless failed attempts before inventing the light bulb exemplify this principle. He viewed these setbacks as stepping stones, not insurmountable obstacles. Practical application. Upon making a mistake, instead of self-recrimination, affirm, "I have gained a new insight." Cultivating self-acceptance and self-love. Embracing imperfection does not imply stagnation. It signifies the cultivation of self-love throughout one's journey of personal growth. As Seneca aptly stated, true progress is not about becoming perfect, but about becoming a better friend to yourself. Practical application. Identify 5 aspects of yourself that you appreciate, including those perceived as imperfections. This exercise fosters self-compassion and acceptance. 6. Liberate yourself from limiting narratives. Limiting beliefs are deeply ingrained negative thought patterns that manifest as unshakable convictions, significantly hindering personal growth and achievement. These beliefs often stem from several key sources. Firstly, past experiences, particularly failures, can foster a sense of inadequacy and self-doubt. For instance, rejection from a job interview might lead to the limiting belief, "I am incapable of securing a desirable position," thus discouraging further attempts. This self-limiting narrative prevents individuals from pursuing opportunities and developing their potential. Secondly, external influences, such as critical remarks from others, can profoundly impact self-perception. Negative feedback, whether intentional or unintentional, can be internalized and accepted as objective truth. A teacher's assertion that a student lacks artistic talent, for example, might lead to the student self-limiting their creative pursuits, foregoing the exploration of their artistic capabilities. This highlights the significant impact of external validation on self-belief. Furthermore, societal and cultural norms often impose restrictive expectations, creating artificial boundaries that limit individual aspirations. Prevalent societal biases, such as the belief that women are unsuitable for leadership roles, or individuals from impoverished backgrounds are destined for failure, perpetuate limiting beliefs and restrict opportunities for personal and professional advancement. These ingrained societal narratives actively discourage individuals from challenging established hierarchies and pursuing their ambitions. Finally, fear of failure and self-preservation mechanisms contribute to the formation of limiting beliefs. Individuals may construct these beliefs as a defense mechanism to avoid potential pain and disappointment. For example, a past relationship ending in heartbreak might lead to the belief, "I am incapable of experiencing genuine love. All relationships inevitably lead to suffering." This protective mechanism, while understandable, ultimately prevents the individual from engaging in future relationships and experiencing the potential for happiness and fulfillment. Overcoming these limiting beliefs requires conscious effort, self-awareness, and a commitment to challenging ingrained negative thought patterns. The consequences of believing limiting narratives are profound and far-reaching, significantly impacting personal growth and overall well-being. Firstly, such beliefs severely restrict one's potential. The insidious phrase, "I can't," acts as a self-imposed barrier, preventing exploration and the seizing of opportunities. Remarkable chances may present themselves, yet they remain unrealized due to self-generated fear and a lack of proactive engagement. Secondly, embracing limiting narratives erodes self-confidence. Individuals who repeatedly tell themselves they are inadequate will inevitably shy away from challenges, fostering feelings of helplessness and entrapment within a cycle of self-doubt. This persistent negativity undermines self-efficacy and inhibits personal development. Finally, and perhaps most critically, adherence to limiting beliefs results in a life unfulfilled. Aspirations and dreams remain unrealized, stifled by the internal narrative of inadequacy. For instance, an individual harboring a desire to become a musician might dismiss their potential with the statement, "I lack talent," thereby precluding any attempt at pursuing their passion and condemning themselves to a life unaligned with their true desires. The detrimental effects of limiting beliefs are undeniable, necessitating a conscious effort to challenge and overcome these self-imposed constraints. Liberating yourself from limiting beliefs, a strategic approach. Overcoming self-imposed limitations is not a swift process, but conscious awareness and proactive change empower you to reclaim control of your life. This involves a multifaceted approach encompassing identification, replacement, reframing failure, and cessation of comparison. Identifying limiting beliefs. Begin by introspectively analyzing your internal dialogue during challenging situations. Document recurring negative narratives, such as, "I am not intelligent enough," "I lack business acumen," or "I am incapable of change." Actively challenge these beliefs. Whenever a negative thought arises, pause and critically assess its validity. Demand concrete evidence supporting its absolute truth. The absence of such evidence necessitates a re-evaluation of the belief's veracity. Replacing limiting beliefs with empowering affirmations. Once limiting beliefs are identified, actively replace them with positive, empowering affirmations. Instead of, "I cannot learn a new language," adopt the affirmation, "I am currently developing my language skills," and consistent practice will yield continuous improvement. Replace, "My lack of mathematical proficiency prevents business success," with, "Business success encompasses diverse skills beyond mathematics, including strategic thinking and creative problem solving." Daily practice is crucial. Begin each day by writing and repeating a positive affirmation aligned with your desired belief system. For example, "I possess the inherent capacity for continuous learning and growth." Reframing failure as a catalyst for growth. Failure does not signify incompetence, it signifies learning. Successful individuals are not those who avoid failure, but those who refuse to allow failure to define them. Walt Disney's journey, marked by numerous rejections before achieving global success, exemplifies this principle. Had he embraced the limiting belief, "I am not skilled enough for animation," his empire would never have materialized. To cultivate this perspective, document 3 past failures and meticulously analyze the lessons learned from each. This process transforms failure from an endpoint into a stepping stone. Eliminating comparative thinking. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself, not a replica of someone else. Each individual's journey is unique. Comparing oneself to others undermines motivation and fosters self-doubt. When comparative thoughts arise, critically evaluate their fairness and completeness. Consider the unseen aspects of others' journeys and the potential biases inherent in superficial comparisons. Remember, you are on your own unique path to success. 7. Embrace the empowering solitude. Humans fear solitude due to a confluence of deeply ingrained biological and socio-cultural factors. Firstly, our inherent social nature, honed by millennia of group survival, renders isolation profoundly threatening, triggering feelings of abandonment and vulnerability. This primal instinct persists, manifesting as a deep-seated aversion to loneliness. Secondly, solitude forces introspection, confronting individuals with their deepest fears and insecurities, a prospect many actively avoid by seeking external distractions through work, social media, or relationships. Thirdly, contemporary society's emphasis on constant connection stigmatizes solitude, framing it as a sign of failure or weakness. thereby increasing the pressure to maintain social engagement. Finally, many individuals derive their self-worth from external validation, leading to feelings of emptiness and worthlessness when alone, lacking the affirmation of others. The consequences of fearing loneliness are significant. A. Vulnerability to toxic relationships. A fear of solitude can lead to acceptance of unhealthy relationships solely for companionship. For example, enduring an abusive relationship to avoid being alone. B. Reliance on distractions. Intolerance of loneliness may result in addiction to phones, social media, or fleeting pleasures as a means of emotional avoidance. C. Impeded self-discovery. Failure to dedicate time to introspection prevents self-understanding, hindering the identification of personal needs and desires. This ultimately results in a meaningless and directionless life. Embracing the power of solitude, cultivating self-mastery. Learning to enjoy solitude does not equate to isolation or social withdrawal, rather, it involves leveraging alone time for personal growth. Reframing solitude. Marcus Aurelius aptly stated, "People look for retreats, for themselves, in the country, by the sea, or in the mountains. But there is no need to go away. If you can find solitude in your own soul, solitude is not absence, but a space for maturation." Practice. When alone, instead of succumbing to boredom or isolation, ask, "How can this time contribute to my development? How can I savor this moment?" Intentional solitude. Solitude should not be wasted time. Utilize this period for meaningful pursuits. Practice. Dedicate at least 15 to 30 minutes daily to solitude. Free from electronic devices. Journal, read, meditate, or simply reflect on life. Confronting emotions. When alone, allow yourself to experience all emotions without judgment. Negative emotions are not inherently frightening. Avoidance is the true fear. Practice. If feeling lonely, instead of evasion, ask, "Why do I feel this way? Am I seeking external validation instead of internal fulfillment?" Cultivating self-generated joy. Mastering the art of enjoying solitude eliminates the fear of loneliness. View it as an opportunity to pursue personal interests independently. Practice. Experiment with solo travel, dining, or movie outings. Discover activities you relish without the presence of others. Becoming your own best friend, as Seneca observed. True progress is when you begin to be a friend to yourself. A strong self-friendship eliminates loneliness. Practice. List 5 qualities you admire about yourself. Cherish yourself as you would a close friend. You've reached the end of this video. But your journey of self-discovery and letting go of the unnecessary is far from over. Now, I pose a question. What change will you implement today to reclaim your freedom and peace of mind? Share your thoughts in the comments. I am eager to hear your story. If you found this video valuable, like it to amplify its message. Share this video with someone who needs it. It could be life-changing. Finally, subscribe to this channel to ensure you don't miss future content on personal growth and success. Remember, your life is yours to author. Do not let others write your story.